These 7 boom towns across America are the next Austin, Texas. These are places that are young and youthful, growing and vibrant, and above all, and most importantly, still affordable. That's right. Unlike current day Austin, Texas in 2021, 2022, these 7 boomtowns are still cheap to buy and rent real estate. And that means that if you're a prospective home buyer looking to move or a real estate investor wanting to get into the next hot market before anyone else sees it, you should look at these 7 boomtowns that I'm going to cover in this video. I believe they are going to be the next Austin, Texas. And let me just quickly define what I mean by that. Austin, Texas is the fastest growing city in America, but yet only 10 years ago, the typical price of a home was only about $200,000. Fast forward to late 2021, and that price is all the way up to $527,000, a massive 130% return on your real estate investment over 9 years. That means that if you're looking to buy in Austin, Texas today, sorry, you're too late. With a typical home price above $520,000 and a nice home in Austin going for over $1 million, the market is priced out. However, there is still hope for you enterprising home buyers and real estate investors out there to find another city here entering 2022 that looks like Austin did 10 years ago. So you can get in at the ground floor before the growth and the boom occurs. And before we get into it, before I reveal the 7 cities that are going to be the next Austin, Texas in this video, I just want to explain my methodology. I looked at what made Austin successful based on what it was doing 10, 15 years ago, and that was 3 things in my view. Number 1, a youthful population, a young population that's vibrant, maybe with a university close by. Number 2, we need growth, job growth and inward migration, an expanding economy and people moving to an area wanting to live there. Finally, number 3, we need affordability. All the cities, all the metro areas on this list have a typical home price below $300,000, meaning that they are still attainable for most home buyers and real estate investors across America. And so without further ado, let's get into these cities so you can find the next boomtown. Starting off with our number 7 boomtown, our next Austin, Texas is actually only about a 60-mile drive from Austin. It's in the same state. If you take I-35 going south, you're going to run into San Antonio, Texas, a city in a metro that gets often overlooked as Austin's little brother. However, when you look at San Antonio's growth rates, they're nearly as impressive. Over the last 5 years, the San Antonio metro area, which includes surrounding suburbs, added over 65,000 jobs. And in 2020 alone, 28,000 people moved into San Antonio more than moved out. Why are people coming to San Antonio? Well, it actually has a very well-balanced, diversified economy. There's a heavy military presence, there's a lot of military bases, as well as a strong university presence with UT San Antonio. This economic diversity is reflected in the Fortune 500 companies present in San Antonio, which include Valero, an energy company, USAA, an insurance company, as well as iHeartRadio, a media company. And perhaps above all, people like coming to San Antonio because it's affordable. Even in this massive raging housing bubble that we're experiencing in America right now, the typical price of a home across the San Antonio metro is still only $265,000, literally half the level of Austin, which sits only 60 miles to the north. Additionally, don't be surprised if San Antonio becomes a bedroom community to Austin with a lot of remote workers who are priced out of Austin electing to move down to San Antonio for the more affordable real estate. Now, our number 6 boomtown on this list is even more affordable than San Antonio, if you can believe it or not. The typical price of a home in this area is below $200,000, which means you could buy a nice home in this area for about $400,000. This is a city that's also experiencing a lot of inward migration. Over 11,000 people moved here in 2020, and many of those people were young. The median age in this metro is only 35 years old, with a very high percentage of millennials. Where am I talking about? That would be Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. When you visit Oklahoma City entering 2022, it feels a lot like what Austin felt like 20 years ago. Everyone is still local, everything is still cheap, but you can see the growth occurring. There's a lot of new restaurants, coffee shops, smoothie shops, and a feeling like this city is going to be the next boomtown. Part of the reason for this youthful exuberance across Oklahoma City is because it's very close to the University of Oklahoma. Situated only about 15 miles south in a town called Norman, the University of Oklahoma has an enrollment of 30,000 students, 6,000 of whom are postgraduates. There's also 3,000 academic staff, only 15 miles south of Oklahoma Oklahoma City, which brings a bohemian presence to the Oklahoma City area that not a lot of people expect when they visit. I'll say the one thing that Oklahoma City needs to do is diversify its economy a bit more. It's still heavily reliant on oil. However, I believe that's going to change in the next 5 to 10 years as more and more people discover this hidden gem. We're going to continue to move further north geographically for our number 5 boomtown, the next Austin, Texas. This is a place that's actually a colder weather climate, which is a rarity on this list. We only have 2 cities that are cold weather climates, but despite the weather, lots and lots of people are moving to this area. For 30 consecutive years, according to US Census Bureau data, this area has logged positive inward migration, adding over 250,000 to its population in that span. Many of these people are moving to the city for tech. That's right. This area is a burgeoning tech hub. Over 20 tech startups received funding over the last year from venture capital arms, particularly in biosciences, in life sciences. Where am I talking about? That would be Indianapolis. That's right. Indianapolis is a burgeoning tech hub buffeted by the presence of Eli Lilly, one of the world's biggest pharmaceutical companies, which is headquartered in Indianapolis. They have a big endowment of nearly $10 billion, much of which gets spent on reinvesting in the local area. But the best part of all about Indianapolis are the home prices. The typical price of a home is only $235,000 right now. That is the second lowest on this list, meaning that if you're someone looking to move to a new city and looking for affordability, or you're an investor looking for affordability, Indianapolis could be a great option. For our number 4 boomtown, we're moving back down south to the southeast, in fact. This is a city which a lot of people know for its tourism, which is a big similarity it shares with Austin. Austin is a big tourist city. Well, so is our number 4 boomtown, a place that draws lots and lots of bachelor and bachelorette parties every single year, but increasingly is showing a diversified economy with lots of job growth and inward migration. I am talking about Savannah, Georgia at our number 4 slot. Many tourists head to Savannah based on the city's beauty and architectural significance, but there also happens to be a thriving local art scene heavily driven by the presence of the Savannah College of Arts and Design. This combination is driving a lot of Savannah's economic growth. The metro area has added, get this, 10,000 jobs in the last 5 years, giving it a 10% job growth rate. That's in the 90th percentile of all areas in America. In addition, 29% of the population in Savannah are millennials, aged between 25 and 44. That's also in the 90th percentile of America. So in Savannah, you're getting an area with lots of job growth, lots of millennials, but affordable prices. The typical price of a home across the metro is only $246,000. Again, less than half the cost of Austin, Texas, making it a very affordable option for someone looking to move to an area that has a great diversity between lifestyle and economy. Now, folks, we just covered the number 7 through 4 boomtowns in America. I truly believe that these places have the potential to be the next Austin, Texas. However, as we move into our top 3, I want you to get ready, because our top 3 are a cut above all the cities we've looked at on this list so far, particularly the area that comes in the number 1 slot. I am utterly convinced that the number 1 city on this list, the number 1 boomtown, will definitely be the next Austin, Texas. So let's get into the top 3 right now. For our number 3 boomtown, we are moving back to the Midwest, another cold weather climate, which also happens to be another booming tech hub. Tech startups received over $1 billion in investment from venture capital funds over the last year. That burgeoning tech scene in our number 3 boomtown makes it very similar to Austin, because as we all know, Austin has a big tech scene. Well, so does Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, a city that a lot of people forget about quite simply because it's in Ohio. Well, it's a place that you should be focusing on because it has lots of tech, lots of inward migration, and good job growth, propelled by a diverse economic base ranging from tech to education, which is propelled by the presence of Ohio State University just to the north of the downtown area, as well as a heavy medical presence. So you'll find a wide array of people across Columbus, whether they be a tech engineer, a student or faculty member at OSU, or a doctor. And chances are these people you'll run into at Columbus will be young. The median age of 36 across the Columbus metro is one of the lowest in America, making Columbus one of the youngest cities, not only in America, but in the Midwest especially. For all this economic diversity and growth, you get to buy a home in Columbus at a typical price of $266,000, which is a lot higher than it was a couple years ago, but it's still very affordable compared to another boomtown like Austin, Texas, or another tech hub like Raleigh. Columbus offers a lot of the same amenities and economic benefits, but at a much cheaper cost. Our number 2 boomtown in America is back down south. This place is called the Rocket City because it is the epicenter of rocket and space research in America. That's right. This #2 boomtown, which is actually located in Alabama of all states, is one of the hidden gems when it comes to economic growth, especially related to software and engineering. This boomtown actually has a higher concentration of software developers than San Francisco. Where am I talking about? That would be Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville is the headquarters of the Amazon Blue Origin space program, as well as home to the US government Missile Defense Agency, and also a place where Dianetics, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing call home. This presence of software developers and high-profile rocket and defense companies means that the wages and the jobs in Huntsville are good. In fact, the average wage, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics in Huntsville, is in the 95th percentile in America and higher than cities like Los Angeles, San Diego, Portland, and you guessed it, Austin, Texas. That's right. Huntsville has higher wages than Austin, Texas, yet home prices are half the amount. The typical price of a home in Huntsville at the end of 2021 is about $260,000, meaning that you can buy a nice home for about $450 grand. I actually passed up on buying an investment property in Huntsville 18 months ago, and I am kicking myself for doing it. Now, Huntsville was pretty good. I think Huntsville is really up there as far as boomtowns go. I think this is a place in the next 10 years is going to be known as an epicenter of where people want to be in America. However, I don't think it holds a candle to our #1 boomtown on this list. This is a place that's also in the South, also with affordable real estate, but with huge levels of job growth. The job growth in this area over the last 5 years has measured a massive 13% over 5 years, which is better than, get this folks, better than Phoenix, better than Raleigh, better than Dallas, better than Denver. This is quite simply one of the best economic growth engines of America. To go along with that, it is the youngest metro on this list with a median age of only 34, putting it in the 98th percentile for youth in the US. Where am I talking about? Where is this #1 boomtown? It is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The Fayetteville metro area, which also includes Bentonville just to the north, which is where the headquarters of Walmart is. This is the next Austin, the next growth hub in America. It has an amazing combination of economic growth and youth propelled by the presence of Walmart. Walmart actually pushes and incentivizes their suppliers to also open offices in Bentonville and Fayetteville, which is contributing to the huge levels of job growth. In addition, the University of Arkansas, which is located in Fayetteville, has an enrollment of nearly 30,000 students and propels a lot of the youth, bohemian, and often liberal attitudes that trend towards the center of the city. The one downside, if there is one, to the Fayetteville-Bentonville area is that it is not as undiscovered as it used to be. Home prices are up 25% over the last year, which is one of the highest in America. However, the typical price of a home is still only $260,000. Again, half the level of Austin, Texas, half the level of Austin to get the same levels of job growth, and I think way more future home price appreciation. So folks, all hope is not lost if you're someone who's looking to move to a new area or buy a home in a new area that's undiscovered. I believe the 7 metro areas on this list are the big boom towns in America today. Don't go looking in Austin today or in Nashville or Raleigh. These places are already discovered. Look in the 7 metro areas, the 7 cities on this list, because they give you the same levels of economic growth, the same levels of burgeoning youthful populations, the same levels of tech presence. However, they do so at a fraction of the cost of a place like Austin today. Now, the one thing I will caution some of you on in these cities is that I do believe some of them are in a housing bubble right now. Don't be surprised if we see home prices go down over the next couple years in a place like San Antonio, Huntsville, or Fayetteville. However, I think over the long run, prices will surely rebound in these markets and that they have a lot of upward room and trajectory to grow into the future. That's because they have the elusive combination of a youthful population, a growing economy that a lot of people are moving to, and affordability. And let me know what you think in the comments below, especially if you're someone who lives in some of these cities or is already buying or investing here. What are your take on these 7 boomtowns? And maybe, do you think I missed some? Are there some other boomtowns you'd have liked to see on this list? In addition to commenting, please also make sure to smash that like button if you appreciated the insight and data in this video. That's the best way to support this channel and get this content out to more people. Also, make sure you're a subscriber. I come out with 3 of these data-driven videos per week, especially if you're someone who's looking for a new city or housing market to buy or invest in heading into 2022. All right, everyone, until next time, this is Nick from Reventure Consulting signing off.